Hello there. Sorry for being topless, but I thought I might as well try and get some sunshine while we still have some. And today's topic is about a study that came out, and it's about. And here's the thing: people say to me that I've got B12 deficiency because I stumble along these videos and I can't remember things and stuff. But it's because I don't script this out really. I'm just saying things as I go along. But today there was a study that came out that basically confirmed that the countries that were run by women sort of basically did better with the coronavirus than the countries run by men. And that this was like pretty clear. And when the people that did this study, when they were asked why was this the case, they said that women, the female leaders, seemed to be more risk averse when it came to health, and the male leaders seem to be trying to balance health and the economy, and they were much more trying to find a balance between those two, whereas the female leaders were just kind of focused on health, deaths, all that stuff. So they made more clear decisions earlier on to lock down. New Zealand being an example that locked down very early, and they had no cases very early on. I believe that they're starting to have cases now. I'm not sure how any country's going to avoid coronavirus forever, but maybe they'll manage it. I don't know. So all of this stuff happened, right? Personal opinion, lockdown was probably mostly unnecessary. This is my personal opinion about that. I don't think the whole lockdown, I don't like what's happening now. I think it's been a big mistake. But let's say it was worthwhile to lock down for the small amount of people that died of coronavirus rather than just with coronavirus, which is what most of the deaths were. You probably know all that story. We don't need to go into it. So the question, I suppose, is, does this mean that women are think about health differently to men? Does that mean that in some kind of psychological way women are different? Because usually in society nowadays we're getting told by the mainstream media that women and men aren't different. We're getting told more and more that gender doesn't even exist, that gender differences are social constructs, and that we need to we have a gender discrimination within institutionalized sexism, where our institutions, I don't know, you have a school book and it's got the boys are all playing with cars, and the girls are all playing with dolls in the books. And that means that all the girls go, oh, I need to be more nurturing and caring, and I need to not think about cars. And that's why women don't care about cars as much as men. It's like, I don't really think that's why boys and girls are different. But that's a particular narrative, that there's this institutionalized sexism and racism, and then there's this intersectional feminism, which is like feminism and racism combined or whatever. So there's all this stuff, and it's all university academic stuff. It doesn't really, no one really is concerned about it in the real world all that much, but more and more it's becoming a part of the culture to almost to say, oh, women and men aren't different, even though everyone kind of goes, I think we are different. I think women are different to men. Everyone kind of knows that, but let's pretend in the world of academics that they're not different, and that it's all a construct, and that women just choose to be, or forced to be, different to men because of a construct. And gender roles in sort of a lifetime or lifetimes of subjugation to men, and all this terrible stuff. And okay. Fair enough, could be the case. I don't think it is, but but people can have opinions. So does that mean that? But is this this is one of the first times I've ever seen recently where they're basically saying, "Oh, women are different to men," and it's almost like the implication there is We should have female leaders because they'll protect us more when it comes to health. And so my question of the day is, are women more risk averse when it comes to health than men? And the answer is probably a pretty clear yes. Women are more interested in concepts surrounding health. They are more, they consume more items and things that relate to health. They're more interested in health concepts. They respond more to anything that is to do with health. If you look at the difference between a women's magazine and a magazine designed for men. In the women's magazine there is more information about health related things. In a men's magazine, health for men is more about physique and, you know, six pack and all that stuff. But that's for really young men. As men get older, they don't care about their health so much because they're focused way more on trying to, you know, keeping their job and trying to be successful and making money. Men are way more concerned about that stuff. So when you have, if you have a health event and you have a making money event, business event, you will find the audiences to be very segregated. Where the making money event, where if it's to do with business or marketing or sales or all that stuff, it'll be mostly men. If you look at the events that are more related to health, way more women. And it just shows that women and men are different in what they are motivated to go to or motivated to be interested in. Now, once again, these are broad things, so I don't need the comments to say, well, I'm a man and I'm interested in health, because I am too, you know what I mean? I don't need those comments, right? Or, I'm a woman and I only care about entrepreneurship. Like, I get that as well. I'm not saying that there's not any women at the more business type events or whatever, but you will tend to find that that's kind of how it splits up. When it comes to the fruit festival, for example, that I'm involved with, there's a fairly balanced mix of men and women. However, a lot of the men are coming along with women, to be fair. I'm not saying they're dragged along, but they find that it might be the female in the couple that is interested, and she takes her family along, and they kind of go along with her, and they end up sometimes the men enjoy it more than the women, funnily enough. Sometimes the kids enjoy it more, but basically women have a more keen interest on health. Now, why is that? Do we want to go into that? Why are women more aware, concerned about health? I mean, women live longer, so it kind of matches up with that women tend to live longer. I would say it's because they have easier lives, but they wouldn't agree with that, I don't think. Because we work so hard to give you such an easy life that men end up dying younger. But men definitely go towards more risky behaviours when it comes to their health. They take way more risks. Men have a higher level of testosterone, which apparently makes you take more risk, and probably the higher the testosterone, the higher the levels of risk potentially that you're willing to take. So men are gambling more, and they're more likely to be involved in anything that's like physically dangerous. Motorcycling, jumping out of planes. A lot of these things, men are more likely to be involved in these kind of extreme things. But then other behaviours, smoking, drinking, drugs, men are more likely to be on the extreme ends of doing these things. Now that's kind of changed. It's not as much as it used to be. Women are celebrating their right to be as unhealthy as possible, and celebrating their right to copy the bad behaviours that men developed over the years, and celebrate their masculinity. But broadly speaking, there's more men doing these risky behaviours, and there's a whole number of reasons for that. It's not just the testosterone thing, it's about, I don't know, maleness and, I don't know, toughness, I don't know. Trying to impress women, maybe even, trying to do some of these things. Trying to find some status, trying to find something special, trying to be special, you know. Men are more likely to do these things. But it's not just men, just to be clear again, because I'll probably get some comments saying, oh, but I do this and I do that, and I get it. Interestingly enough, when you look at men that are interested in health, and kind of more seriously interested in health, not just looking for a six-pack or whatever, a lot of them are also interested in the conspiracy theory stuff. A lot of them. So men have this, like, sometimes this conspiracy theory view of the world, which makes them go, like, they don't believe anything anymore. They question everything. They question the food system, and they go, oh, this is all wrong. So there's a lot of men that are kind of conspiracy theorists. But yeah, if I was to put out an advert for, well, put it this way, I do health coaching. I've never had a male client. Never turned down a male client. But I've never had a male client when I've done health coaching. When I've done my course, I can't say this off the top of my head, it's 100% true, but it's more women. It might not be significant, it's not 90% women, but it's more women than men. The Fruit Festival is more women, is actually fairly balanced. However, the thing about the Fruit Festival is there's a lot of women that bring men, and that balances it out. Bring their husband, bring their son, bring their family. Men don't so much tend to bring women, weirdly enough. The men that come to the festival come on their own a lot of the time. There's only a few guys that convince their wife or partner to come, and she doesn't really want to be there. There's only a few guys. But a lot of men end up going on their own if they're into the health stuff their wife isn't. You know. So, just an observation, but it's pretty true. When we do advertising, women respond way more than men. 85% plus is women. So women are definitely women make up the whole health industry, especially alternative health stuff. Leave out the whole medical thing, in which more women will go to the doctor and this, because a lot of men are avoiding going to the doctor all the time and stuff. But more women, if you take all the industries, if you take the alternative health industry, let's go outside of the medical conventional. That is entirely funded, well, I would say entirely, that is almost entirely funded by the buying power of women. Supplements, vitamins, all that stuff, like all the supplement stuff, that's all the health food shops, that's mostly female. Those would not survive if women stopped going to them. It's women that are buying all that stuff mostly. Diet books, weight loss centres and classes. Gyms, I'm not sure, because gyms used to be quite male places. And gyms, you know, working out's related to power and strength, so it's kind of a guy thing as well. But all those alternative therapies, Ayurveda and all that stuff, and like Chinese medicine and blah blah blah, all that is will be mostly female customers. Maybe it's only 60%, maybe it's only 55%, but I would guess it's 70% plus, 80%, maybe even 90%. And a huge amount of that will be women, surprisingly enough, over the age of 60, over the age of 70. A massive, massive amount, which you might not expect, but it really is. Obviously, as people get older, health becomes like, okay, this is really important now. People's health starts to really go downhill if they've not taken care of themselves in their 60s. It seems to be the case. People can have these terrible diets for their 20s, their 30s, or 40s, and even into their 50s. They might have made some changes up till then, but not many people can continue in a really poor lifestyle in their 60s. Not that they maybe go to the perfect lifestyle, but they probably make some amendments by that point, or they're looking to. And obviously, most people are dying before the age of 80, so you start to go downhill then. And when you start to go downhill, like rapid, you start to want to do something about it, or some people do. But that's better than no one, like in their 20s or 30s, where basically no one is that concerned. So women will always make up. Women will always be more risk averse when it comes to health. They will always make up a higher percentage of the demographic that purchases and funds and creates the market for health stuff. For all the health stuff. It's just the way it'll always be. And why would that be? One thing would be pregnancy. You have to be healthy to be able to be pregnant. So maybe that's something subconsciously that's in a woman's mind. A man does not need to be healthy to have a child. Plenty of guys on their deathbed, if you could get some semen out of them, could get that could make a woman pregnant, right? But women need to be in a good state of health, or not even a good state of health, a reasonable state of health to have a child. I mean, there seems to be some women who are in a really bad state of health that have children, but not go into that. Women are more risk averse in general to any kind of risky behaviours. So anything that's seen as like, this can hurt you, this can harm you, men are more cavalier towards in general than women. That's what the studies would show. That's not Ronnie's opinion from what I've had a look at in my life. And so yeah. And women also are more judged on their appearance and their physical attributes and all that, and their weight, or they feel they are. So I'm never really convinced so much about that. Like, I'm not convinced that men are so concerned about women's appearance. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about all that. It has made me think, like, sometimes I've thought, is the reason that women at a particular age get interested in becoming healthier and losing weight and all that stuff, is it because as they get older they're not getting the same attention from men and they're trying to kind of get that back? Maybe that's a little motivation as well. That would be a motivation for me. Like, if I mean, I don't really get a lot of attention from women, but if I did and all of a sudden it disappeared, then I would probably be concerned about it. So maybe that's a thing. So I don't necessarily think it's to do with women being any more, I don't know, smart or intelligent or wise than men. I think it is kind of a natural thing, a drive that women have, a concern that they have, not just for their health, but for other people's health, a bit more of a nurturing character. I've always been more aware of other people's health. I don't know, like when I was growing up, it's like women, the female people in your family, like they were the ones feeding you or I don't know. Maybe maybe they weren't. I'm trying to think. Yeah, they were more like that. Whereas my uncle was like built me a sword or something like that. Like, here's a sword. Go out and whack each other with that. And the women were like, no, 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 don't take away the swords. Take away the guns. Don't have guns. Um, yeah. So that's all that. Anyway, I'd like to hear your opinions on this. Do you feel like women are less risk averse when it comes to health? And is that a good thing? Is that a good trait in a leader? Should we have a leader that just is concerned about health and kind of freaks out when a virus comes along? Or should we have like a Donald Trump character that, or the guy from Brazil was even better. He just was kind of pretending that it wasn't happening. It's a weird one as well, this corona thing, because there's a lot of deaths now from flu. There's more deaths happening from seasonal flu right now, and no attention on it at all. No attention whatsoever. So the question is, if we just never had placed attention on coronavirus and it was just happening kind of in the background, would we have really ever got so concerned about it and scared about it? I don't know. But anyway, I'd like your thoughts on this video and what you think is the difference between men and women when it comes to their health. And maybe it is that women are just more smart. I think it's got deeper roots, like evolutionary deep roots. Another thing is, like, health was never really a concern back in the day. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years ago in a sense. Your diet would have been, if you went, obviously, if you go back far enough where people were eating lots of fruits and vegetables and stuff, your diet was fine. It was beyond question. But maybe women's role was always like, oh no, we don't want to eat those leaves because they're toxic. We want to have those berries, and we want to stay away from. Maybe they were more, had the detail of memory for these things. Maybe they were more keenly aware of that. And men were kind of more, hey, let's try this out. We'll see. Maybe we'll die eating it, but we might as well try it. I don't know. And maybe that was the balance that worked. So, in Scotland we've got Nicola Sturgeon, and she's super locked down. It's like the gyms are still closed. The schools are open. The gyms are still closed. Everything's opening, and the gyms are closed. Events are pretty much still closed. Football matches and all that stuff. I think pubs, you can go to a pub but there's no music because they don't want people to sing. You can go to a church but you can't sing. And you have to have a ticket in advance. So we're still in a lockdown, and it's just annoying. So that's me anyway. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.